friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are working on day 11 in my December daily, and so here's what I had as far as foundation pages that I'm actually going to keep for day 11. So if you came to the prep party, you would have seen Crystal walk me through making this really fun page. She's already used hers in her album. She did the day 8. She used hers for day 8, but I'm using mine today. And I actually decided to switch it up a little bit. So I went into Photoshop in Silhouette Studio and made a sister page for it so that this says give. You can't see that. That says give. So I made a sister page so that now it says give hope across the two pages. And then in advance, I went in and I fringed with my Martha Stewart. No, these aren't Martha Stewart. These are EK Tools fringe scissors. I went in and fringed a bunch of different papers. Now, I could have used the same papers that I used for the other side, but I figured it might be fun to just mix it up. So I went into my stash of papers from Ali and my Crate Paper Hey Santa 6x8 paper pad. I had a tape runner somewhere. My Crate Paper Hey Santa 6x8 paper pad, and then I just went and fringed some papers. Now, this other side I did black to red to green. So I think I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with this white stripe. Now, when Crystal walked me through this during the prep party, it took me a little bit of like figuring out how to do this. I have since figured out how to do this. This is not a hard page to make. I don't know why I made it that hard that day. I think it's just because I was a little like turned around and uncertain. But I did go back and watch us make this page together. I will say that. I went back and watched us make this page together to make sure that I'd be able to do it here so I wouldn't be like all flustered and turned around here. So yeah, all you do is you take 1-inch strips. Now I can give you the cut file for the give part, but if you want the hope, she provided that during the prep party. That was a prep party download. So if you want the hope, you just have to attend the prep party, which you can still do. You can still go and watch all the videos and download all the files. Ali has left that open for registration. So if you are interested in any of the things we made during the prep party, because they're going to pop up in both of our albums, the stuff we made. So if you're interested in any of the things we made during the prep party or any of the files, you can head on over to Ali's website and still sign up is what I was trying to say. Okay, so I ended up only using 5 strips for this. I must have put my strips closer together on the other side. So there we go. Oh, I think that looks so fun with the yellow. So then I'm just going to go in with my non-fridge scissors and trim off this excess fringe. Now I know the other reason why it was harder for me on the other side is because we had that transparent O that we needed to leave as a window. So I had to like cut my fringe in half. And on this side, it's just a matter of sticking it straight across. So that might have been what made it a little bit more challenging for me. Also, this type of work is just really hard for me. I'm just gonna be upfront. Like this type of detailed work is not my default setting the way it is for Crystal. So this type of work is really hard for me. All right, and the next thing I'm gonna do is I just have a bit of cardstock that's cut to 6 3/4 wide. And I'm going to use it to lock in my fringe so it doesn't move. Okay, perfection. Now, the next thing I want to do is make a pocket. And I'm going to have the pocket open on this side, like on the bottom right, to balance out the way that it opens on the top left. I think that looks so good together. Wow, that's really fun. And I really like that I went with that pop of yellow. I think that's really cool. All right, so I'm gonna use some score tape, which I won't make you watch me do, but I'm just gonna use some score tape to make my pocket. And I have a 2.5-inch circle punch that I'm going to use to punch out where I want my pocket to be. This did this to me last time too. I think my circle punch and I are just gonna have a difference of opinions, or it could be that it just doesn't like punching through 2 layers of 80-pound cardstock. Which, you know what, circle punch, I'm not mad at you. I wouldn't want to do that either. So there we go. So I have my pocket, And I'm just going to use, again, I'm going to use some score tape to attach this across the top and across this side, because this side has to stay open, otherwise it won't serve as a pocket. So I'm going to quickly do that, and then I'll come back and we will finish this page and we'll do some fun embellishing stuff. Because I'm going to make some fringe stars to tie the fringe together and to kind of like decorate this page. So I'm going to, again, make my score tape pocket, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so we are moving right along with the rest of this page. I have since made my little score pocket, and then I'm punching holes. And what I did to punch these holes was I lined this up with the page that I made for day 10, that obnoxious flip out thing that you will have seen this process for already. So I lined up this page with day 10 just to make sure that my holes match up, because after the album's finished, I'm going to take a day and go in and adhere every page back to back the way they're supposed to be. I'm just not doing that while I'm working on the album. I'd rather do it at the end. All right. So there we go. That's what the pages are going to look like in the album. And I made my cut file using crystals as a template, right? Because I'm just going to glue down some of these flappy bits. I think it'll work better if I put a little bit of adhesive down. So I use Crystal's file as a template. So my letters are the exact same height as hers. I literally opened her file, the file that she provided for the prep party, and created mine on top of hers to make sure that they would be the same dimensions, make sure that everything would be in the same place. Just because I want it to be a 2-page continuous spread, right? So it has to match on both sides. So I just opened her file, created my file on top of hers. And that did not take any like real Photoshop know-how. She gave a PNG of this particular file. And so I opened the PNG. The digital alphabet stamp and the actual physical alphabet stamp is probably the workhorse of my December daily this time around. I think I've used it on at least 5 or 6 pages in this album, and I'm on day 11. It's such a fun font, and it really lends itself to stuff like this, like backing, cut files, and stamps and stuff. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to make some fringe stars. And so before I started, I took a piece of cardstock, and I used the same papers that I fringed, and the same papers that I used for the give, and I like adhered it down to this. That way you guys weren't watching me fuss with this. So I did it in a different order, so it would look a little different. And I have these Stampers Journey. That's why they're green. I think these have been discontinued, but they're just nested star dies. So I have these Fun Stampers Journey nested star dies, and I'm going to cut some fringe stars with my Gemini Junior. So we are going to take these down, and I think I am going to use a metal shim just because there's so much layer of paper. There's so many layers of paper to cut through. Like, it's not just cutting through the white cardstock, it's cutting through the white cardstock and all of the other paper that... Okay, I'm going to interrupt myself. So this is going to be a little bit choppy. I'm going to interrupt myself, and I'm doing this thing over. I really want it to work, and the first time I did it was an unmitigated disaster. And I learned something from the first time I did it. When I did it, I had only adhered the tops of the fringes just like I did for this piece. And so when I die cut the stars, which my Gemini did like a champ. My Gemini Junior die cut the stars like a champ. When I die cut the stars, because the individual fringy bits weren't adhered down, they all fell off. So I ended up with these really weird, kind of naked fringe stars that had fringes in some places and had no fringe in other places. And I really want the fringe stars to work. So I decided, instead of totally throwing that whole idea in the trash, which I played around with throwing the idea in the trash for like a solid 5 minutes, I'm not gonna lie. I decided to cut new fringe rows and try it again. So I lost one of my star dies. That's not good. Never mind, found it. So we're gonna try it again. And I went ahead, and when I made my fringes this time, I literally stuck down everything. Like, I stuck down the tops of the fringes, and then I put a outrageous amount of tape and stuck down all of the bottom pieces of the fringes also. So hopefully that should keep it in place. Now my desk is like literally seconds away from just imploding on me. I don't actually clean up between projects. I just move things off to the side and then put new stuff on my desk. which is not the best, not the best way of doing things. Honestly, you should clean up between projects so that you don't have things falling on you all the time. But I'm like literally going from thing to thing, and I don't want to waste time cleaning, and that's why my desk is falling on me. All right, I know I had all 3 star dies here the first time. I know it fits. Okay, so we're gonna load this up again, and hopefully with the changes I've made to how I adhered these fringe bits down, it's gonna work. I'm going to keep my plates are, I need to get new Gemini plates. I'm going to keep my original sandwich. So I'm going to use my metal shim again because I think that really helped. I'm going to use my metal shim, which now has the imprint of my stars. I'm going to feed it through 2 times, which I also think helped. And then we're going to see what we get. Okay, guys, moment of truth again. Let's see. Okay, I think we're okay. Last time I took the dies off, I like immediately started losing fringy bits, and that is not happening. So I think we're okay. All right. Oh Lord, this tape is gonna make me a liar. Hold on. Yes, we are okay. Perfect. So there are those really fun fringe stars, which are the same color palette as the one I used for the give. So I'm going to put, I did 3 because, visual triangles. Oh, hold on. This tape is, this magic tape from some scrapbook.com is giving me a little bit of trouble to come off. And it's not the tape, it's that I have fringy bits. So each individual piece wants to stick to the tape and not necessarily come off. So there we go. There's 1 star, there's 2 stars. So I'm thinking I'm going to do a big one on top, a little one kind of right here, and then do this medium one on the other side. Now I'm just having a little bit of trouble getting, again, these are just cut through so many layers of paper. There are 6 individual layers of paper on this. Well, 7, I guess, if you count the background paper. And so just giving my dies a little bit of love so they come out. There we go. Oh, I really like how that came out. I think that looks super good. Yay! I'm glad I did it again because those worked out really well. Now I think I'm going to put this one kind of out here, put this smaller one closer to here, and then put this one like that. So I have my 3. Do I want this bigger one on the bottom? Okay, so here's where we faff about with things for much longer than we should. I think I want the larger one on the bottom, or do I want, okay, eventually we will make decisions, I promise. Never mind. I like it like that. Okay, so we're going to do it like that. We're going to have the larger one on top and then have the 2 kind of smaller ones hanging out. This needs a little bit of adhesive. This little white piece is going to escape. So we're going to do the larger one on top. And then we're going to do the 2 smaller ones kind of on the bottom, obviously a little bit offset. And then I'm going to put little chipboard triangles. These are not triangles. These are stars. What are triangles but just a series of, what are stars but a series of triangles? I'm trying to like make up for the fact that I call these stars. Obviously stars, triangles. I'm not even making it better. So I'm just going to leave the fact that I don't know what a shape is anymore. What are shapes? Shapes are relative anyway. Now, I will say the fact that I had to glue these down means that you do lose a little bit of the fringe action in the stars because these are very, very much stuck down. But I'd rather lose a little bit of the fringe action in the stars than lose the paper in the stars, which is what was happening. I was losing the paper. I like got really frustrated and threw them away. So I don't even know if I can show them to you. Hold on. I might have one. Yeah, so this is what was happening, is because it wasn't adhered, like whole strips of fringe was just disappearing. So I was getting that fringe element, but I was losing paper. And I'd rather the trade-off of losing a little bit of the fringe and keeping my paper. And you know what, I guess I could tell you a little bit about my story. So the reason I chose Give Hope as my, my title, or do these have titles? I don't even know. I guess I could say as my title, is because on day 11, well, so I'm not sure, how much you guys know about this, but Liz of Dear Lizzie lost her husband this year, and so a lot of members of the scrapbooking community decided to hold an auction to kind of raise money for her so she could have a good Christmas with her family. And so Crystal and I donated a hangout and a gift card and like a sketch, and we just decided we were going to donate something to kind of help raise money for Liz and her family. And on day 11, we had a hangout with the people who won our auction. And so I wanted to document hope, because seeing the whole community kind of band together around Liz and her family just gave me hope in a year that did not feel very hopeful. And I saw Crystal do this for her journaling, which I thought was really cool. She printed it on a photo paper and printed it on a dark background. Okay, go in the pocket. Like, I know it fits. She printed her journaling on photo paper and printed it on a dark background so that it pops into the O like that. So that's how it's going to look. So there's the story. It's going to pop out there. I'm going to put a number right here. And then I have a screenshot of our Zoom call. So I just printed a screenshot of the Zoom call. That's going to go on this side in this pocket. So there's something, both pockets, work. Both pockets are actual pockets. And there we go. On one side, you'll have the journaling. On the other side, you pull out and you'll have the story. And I'm going to put a number here, which I probably should have had. So I'm just going to read my journaling to you, and then I'll go back at some point and look for a number. So I'll take it out of the pocket. Wish me luck, because it doesn't like to go in and out. And it's just, this is also available from the prep party. So if you took the prep party, you have this download. And it says, "Dear Tammy and Beth and everyone else who donated to the auction, you remind me what it is to be hopeful in a world that is very good at making me feel hopeless. After one ordeal after another, one more disappointment that felt like it could not be borne, one more shattered heart that had barely been glued back together from the previous heartbreak, than sitting on the sidelines and watching someone experience great tragedy, it felt like 2020 had shown up just to test us and try us, to stretch us out on the rack and watch us bleed, to dangle us like marionettes and watch us dance before slowly cutting each and every string and letting us fall to the ground, bit by broken bit, a mangled pile of skinned knees and bloody elbows, and I needed a reminder that there is goodness and there is kindness in the world after the ugliness of October and the fount of hatred that was November, and somehow in the middle of all the noise and the chaos, there was a little corner of the internet banding together around one of our own, as if to form a bulwark, an edge of love and light, and even though it wasn't for me, I couldn't help but be touched by the rays as if it were shining in my direction. I watch people I look up to show up for her and her family. People give of themselves and their time, and how could I not want to do the same? How could I not show up and open my heart, open my hands to someone who could use a bit of hope, a bit of kindness, and how could I not give of myself as freely as I could? So I did. And Crystal did, and you did, and it was more than I ever could have expected, and I watched the auction progress with starlight in my eyes and my heart in my throat, because here was the proof that goodness and kindness still exist in the world, that we are not as far gone as I imagine we are some days, and that there is still magic in the world and hope to give and share and multiply. Thank you for the reminder, for the lesson, for showing Crystal and I so much love, and for reminding me that I am right where I need to be, doing what I need to be doing, and that my own personal brand of giving, my brand of relentless and extravagant hope, is enough to change the world. Thank you for the hangout, for sharing with us and letting us share with you, for inspiring us and letting us inspire you, for the laughs and the awesome photo at the end, and for being a beacon of hope in your own right. So that is my story about hope, and it will go in this pocket. I promise you it will go in this pocket. That is my story about hope. So the reason my pocket's a little bit tight is because I made it out of cardstock, and I probably should have put the back side as copy paper so it's a little bit more flexible, but the whole thing's made out of 110-pound cardstock, which is just not a flexible material. But there's my story for day 11. I will put a number here, I promise. And I really love how this came out. I love the fringe stars. I love the rainbow. I love the color. Give me a rainbow any day of the month. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the page in the comments below. And I will see you for day 12. We are almost at the halfway point. I cannot believe this month is going by as fast as it is. So I'll see you for day 12. So till next time, keep your crafting. Have the very best day, and I'll see you around. Bye for now.